Hello, Search here for the backyard driving range. All right, we have a question that came in, and it's from Ross Bradfield. And Ross was one of our students in Australia on the trip Doc Griffin and I went to, and over there for him doing fittings and a little bit of teaching, and me doing teaching golf school. So Ross says, greetings, you may remember me from your first session in Melbourne. Okay, and his question goes, in lifting the arms, in parentheses, after a bit of turn, it's not clear how to avoid at the same time lifting the shoulders, thereby raising the arc and leading to an ugly chop at the ball rather than a swing. Surely the shoulders, and in parentheses again, and head should stay at the same level in the backswing. With its arms focused, how does the PPGS swing avoid chopping and topping? With thanks, and Ross Bradfield. Okay, Ross, pretty good question. Really good question. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about basically maintaining levelness, maintaining one's spine angle, all right? Maintaining one's angles, all right? Now, there's a whole host of problems issues that can cause what Ross is talking about. Let's just first define what he's talking about. He's saying, as you've heard me say, the head must stay level. The body must stay level. The spine must stay consistent, all right? And all of that comes from basically your stance and creating your stability of the body. And the number one place that comes from is the knees, all right? So if someone was standing over here and either A, they're swaying a lot off the ball, that means the body's changing relatively to the ball. They could be, if they're talking, when Ross talks about lifting the arms and I lift too high, well, as soon as if I lift too high and I change my spine angle, I've just gone from a swing now to chopping. And normally if I lift up too much, the odds are the lifting up is going to pull my arms forward. The arm's going to pull my torso forward. And so now I'm ahead, so all that's left is the chop. So the only way that we can maintain a consistency of our width of arc and our arc in terms of its plane is we have to maintain where we started, all right? And so we have to control the knees. The knees are the bees. Move them too much and you're going to get stung. All right, that's one of my newest surgeons that I've had for a while now. And so the whole key to this is the concept of the wide knees outward pressure is that creates the position we want to stay in. My other big surgism for the knees has always been the knees are the levelers and stabilizers. You only can stay level if you maintain your knees, because your knees, if you start moving your knees too much, your body's going to rock and roll all over the place, all right? If you waltz, you're basically staying relatively level. The knees, the hips, the spine, the head staying very stable, right? But as soon as you get into rocking and rolling and your knees start moving too much, once this knee kicks this way, it's going to push everything that way. The lower body goes that way, the upper body goes that way, all right? And rocking and rolling, and like I've said many times, you can waltz the night away, but you can't rock and roll the night away, because rocking and roll is a lot of physical exertion to do that. It's a high degree of energy consumption, all right? That's like driving a car, pedal to the metal and just pouring and just cranking that engine up as fast as it'll go and just having the gas get sucked right through the car. Well, here we want to have to stay level because the ball isn't changing. The ball is right there. It isn't moving, all right? So if you get into too much leg action, or even at some point too much lift, in each case you're moving, you might as well be trying to swing and hitting golf ball standing on a waterbed, right? We want to stand on good solid earth, all right? And we start with the knees. So when we get the wide knees outward pressure, we turn into the catcher's mitt and up the tree. If we maintain the knees properly, the most they should do is that little sitter sink into the backside. We can go here, but I can make the greatest swing in the world to right here. But then if I lift too much, I'm gone. And lifting too much can in many cases, even with a limited turn, your upper arm, for me, a right hand it would be my left hand. My left arm would be right arm for a left hand swinging this way. If I lift too much, it's going to, the chin is sitting on top of the arm, it's going to pull me up. All right, so we have to maintain our spine angle. All right, and so one of the best ways is to look at focus. When I'm focusing at the ball, if I'm moving too much, I see the ball on the ground moving. If I'm staring at the ball, I don't stare at any part of the ball. I just stare at the ball. I see the ground around it, and I want to see from here to there, and nothing moves. If I get up here and all of a sudden the ball on the ground looks like it's going farther away, I know I'm lifting. If I'm swinging a club and all of a sudden the ground and the ball's coming closer, I know I'm going down because the ball's not moving, barring an earthquake, I guess, right? Huh? So if I see the ball going backwards, and the ground going backwards, I know I'm going forwards, and vice versa. So I want to see the ball stay stable there. But it starts with the knees. The other big thing about lifting your arms up is I do this with a lot of students. You can lift your arm up here, no problem. As long as this upper arm is down in the shoulder socket, that is not flying right elbow. The second I lift it enough and my shoulder starts to go up and my elbow starts going up this way, as long as the elbow is below the shoulder, you have not lifted too much. But if I get up here and now I got my right arm above my elbow, or in fact, in this case, both elbows are above my shoulders, right? You've overlifted. And your spine's going to change. There's no doubt about it. And in this case, you've lifted so much, not only does your spine change, it's going to change everything else. Because your hips are going to go with it, your knees are going to go with it, and everything's forward. Just as if I went too flat around myself and my arms go way down too low, it's going to start pulling me back this way and that, you know, laterally this way and around me, because if I start collapsing around my body, so I'm going that way and then back that way. So you just have to lift up. You have to learn how high is high where you don't start losing it. All right? And this is not a flying right elbow. This is. That's not a flying right elbow. That is. See how the elbow comes up and the elbow gets equal to or above the shoulder. As long as the upper arm is down in the shoulder, both arms are from shoulder to elbow is down a little bit and not up, you're not flying right elbow and you haven't lifted too much. So the knees start with the total stability of the body, and then the arm lift is just enough that you can get to the max, whatever you can do, and you stay with that position of the elbow below the shoulder, and there's no pulling off the ball. And see, in this case, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but right now the sun's directly behind me. I can see my shadow right there, and I can just watch my shadow. And if I get up here and lift too much, the head's going up. I lift too much that way, and it's moving. I just want to be here. Everything stays still. And you just have to learn to feel where the end is. And in most cases, the perfect swing is you get into the cactus position, and there's your back swing, and there's your forward swing, okay? From ear to ear. You start getting your hands too high above the head, it's going to be very difficult not to do it. And if the knees are moving, you're in trouble. We want to swing on solid earth, and we want to make sure we stay in place. And so, wide knees out with pressure, and make sure you swing where you still feel in this position, hands out from about the right ear, the back ear. And you'll be hitting a more solid straight consistently and shooting better scores. All right, so this is all about controlling your angles and making sure, and it starts with the knees and knowing where the top of your backswing is. Okay, that's it for the search for today, and I'll be speaking with you all again soon.